Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If MQB Gave Naruto the Ultimate Dojutsu Part 11. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Naruto sat on the couch, staring at his sword, as Kasumi and Yujiro observed the blonde's thoughts. For some reason, the air in the room was tense because Yujiro and Kasumi had nothing to talk about. The Nibai Jinchuriki continued to sip her water despite the deafening silence. It was so quiet that the slightest sound would startle someone. But both the girls were overjoyed when Naruto decided to speak up. Yujiro, what can you tell me about Raymond? Naruto inquired, raising an eyebrow at the older blonde. She placed her glass on the table and considered his question. Well, I wasn't around the guy much. I just know that he was our village's second strongest ninja. He was always fascinated by his sword for some reason. In truth, no one knew why he left Kumo in the first place. They just know that he was known as the Storm of Kumo because whatever Raiten Jutsu was used on him, he would be able to return it twice as strong with his sword, Yujiro said. And he rubbed his eyes while holding the journal. While Kasumi approached him, he thanked her for the information. Is there anything I can help you with, Naruto-sama? Kasumi inquired, and Naruto gave her a brief look. He looked at the scroll with Raymond's money and the bounty for Naruto's death, and the blonde handed them to Kasumi. Can you put these in the vault, Kasumi-chan? Naruto asked, and Kasumi nodded. Naruto still had a lot of money in the bank, but he also wanted a personal vault in case something went wrong with the bank. Kasumi took the money scrolls and exited the room, leaving Naruto and Yujiro alone. The younger blonde sat back in his chair and was about to continue reading when he noticed his clone return with the Fuinjutsu book the blonde had requested. Naruto took the book and turned to face Yujiro. Well, I'm going. Stay here as long as you want, I guess. Kasumi-chan will show you out if you want to leave, Naruto said, as Yujiro nodded and placed her glass near the sink. Where are you going so late? She inquired, causing Naruto to snicker as he opened the door. CCRet, Naruto replied, closing the door, causing Yujiro to narrow her eyes and pout, which Nibai thought was rather cute. He got you so good, I might really like him, Nibai said, and Yujiro groaned before rolling her eyes and taking another look around the house. Kasumi soon returned and saw Yujiro on the pouch, gazing at the moon. She raised an eyebrow and followed the Nibai Jinchuriki outside to share her thoughts. Is there something bothering you? Kasumi inquired, and Yujiro shrugged. She wasn't sure when she was going to leave because she had finished her work and was wondering if the others were already asleep. Not really, I was just wondering if I should go now. Naruto said I could stay here as long as I wanted, so I just thought I'd look around before leaving. Yujiro explained as Kasumi's tail waggled briefly. She smiled with a gleam in her eyes. Well, if you're staying, how about a little game? Kasumi suggested, and Yujiro turned to the dog girl, a look of curiosity on her face. Kasumi smiled and walked back inside, Yujiro close behind. She entered a nearby closet and set a board on the table. Yujiro sighed as he looked at it. So shall we meet again, Yujiro said, staring at the board, while Kasumi took the pieces and arranged them in the correct order. I've never played before, but I saw Inara doing it and it looked like fun, so I asked Naruto-sama to buy me one. And let's play, Kasumi said, to which Yujiro nodded. They each sat back on the pouch and began to play shogi, a small game. The following morning, Darui sighed as he knocked on Yujiro's door. See, and himself had stayed up that night because they were worried about Yujiro, but then they heard her come up the stairs cursing her head off as she slammed her door shut. Everyone agreed to check on her tomorrow out of fear of having their heads chewed off, and since he was the first one up, he was assigned the task. Yujiro, how long are you going to make me knock? Darui inquired, and the door soon opened, Yujiro staring at her Kumo teammate. Can't you see I'm moping right now? I'm not coming out right now, Yujiro said, slamming the door back in his face as Darui nodded. Good talk, I guess, he said, turning away as Yujiro lay stunned near her bed. Kasumi had annihilated her in shogi. It was then that she discovered Kasumi had lied to her. She was insanely enthusiastic about shogi. Yujiro had played her in 5 games, all of which she had lost. Kasumi had looked at her as if she were a mouse that had been jumped by the cat and left to die. I'm never going to play her again, Yujiro thought as Nibai laughed at her Jinchuriki's expense. She sure showed you kitten, and as much as I don't like being around dogs, that girl is okay in my book, Nibai said, adding to Yujiro's headache and frustration. Tsunade is present. The Godame Hokage was on his way to the Konoha hospital. She had heard Haku following her, and the woman was eager to begin her training as Tsunade entered. All right, Haku, we'll start your training as soon as... Tsunade was interrupted by an excited shout, which caused her and Haku to turn towards the noise. "Yahoo! I'm free!" exclaimed Kiba as Shizune signed him out. He was jumping up and down as Akamaru ran circles around him when he noticed his owner getting smacked upside the head by his girlfriend. "Kiba, please stop yelling. And sorry, Tsunade-sama. You know how he is," Tenten said as Tsunade nodded. Kiba rubbed his chin and smiled as he walked out the door, Tenten following him and reprimanding him for embarrassing her in front of her idol. "Do they ever change?" Tsunade inquired, and Haku sighed. "That might be a good thing, Tsunade-sama," Haku said as they walked up the stairs. Tsunade nodded. They both approached a door and opened it. When she saw one of the 4 people she and the others had fought with to bring Sasuke back, Haku's eyes widened. Haku narrowed her eyes as she lay in her bed. "Tsunade-sama, she's with Orochimaru," Haku said, preparing to fight, but was stopped when Tsunade ordered her to back down, which confused Haku. "Well, if it's not the girl we fought with, how fucking nice," Tayuya said in her bed as Haku narrowed her eyes at the redhead. But she didn't say anything because Tsunade told her not to, but she really wanted to. Tsunade approached Tayuya's bed and drew her arms across her ample chest, causing her assets to bounce slightly. "Shizune told me about you, and she said you agreed to tell us everything you knew about Orochimaru. Mind me asking why?" Tsunade asked, and while she wasn't going to turn down free Orochimaru information, she wasn't stupid either. Tayuya lowered her gaze and sat back on the bed. "Perhaps I just don't like the fucking bastard. Are we going to get this over with?" Tayuya asked, springing to her feet as if it were child's play. Tsunade and Haku narrowed their eyes at her, hoping she wouldn't be too difficult. Tayuya was still nervous, despite what she said the night before. She had reason to be, but Kimimaro was stronger than she was, so if he could trust these shits, why couldn't she? "Are you going to keep staring at me or are we going to do this?" Tayuya inquired, and Tsunade nodded. She left the room, followed by Haku and Tayuya. "You know, I never thought I'd be doing this, but that brat really knows how to win someone over," Tsunade said, drawing strange looks from Tayuya and Haku. Tsunade chuckled and decided to tell the 2 girls what she meant. "What I mean is, I never thought someone on Orochimaru's side would change that easily," Tsunade said, and Tayuya chuckled, more as a taunt than anything else. "Yeah, well, don't get used to it. But Kimimaro seems to think that the guy is something special. I don't see what the big deal is, but I want to see what makes Kimimaro think so highly of him," Tayuya said, and Haku wondered who Kimimaro was, but he was also a former Orochimaru shinobi, according to Tayuya. "Well, yeah, it still perplexes me, but I see where he gets it from. Now then, just tell us what we want to know, and Haku will come get you later to take you to Naruto's house," Tsunade said, and Tayuya came to a halt. "Wait, I have to live there?" Tayuya asked in surprise, while Haku sighed because she didn't like the idea either, but she'd deal with it. She adored Naruto and would not let him be hurt by someone she had just met who had previously been an enemy. "That's right. Naruto said he'd take full responsibility for you and Kimimaro's actions, and on his word, you have to stay with him. Don't worry, you'll get used to him in no time," Tsunade said, making Tayuya scowl. But there was nothing she could do about it. Tsunade signed the girl out of the hospital because she was healing at an unusually fast rate. Tayuya had always been like this. She was always able to recover faster than others, but not to the same extent as Naruto. It could be why she didn't need Kabuto to heal her as much, not that she liked it when he touched her in the first place. Soon after, the 3 arrived at the interrogation department and discovered Ibiki waiting for them in front of the door. "All right, Ibiki, I want all of her information. And then she's free to go. I'll send Haku for her later," Tsunade said, to which Ibiki nodded. "Yes, Hokage-sama," Ibiki replied, and Tayuya followed him inside, closing the doors behind her. Meanwhile, Haku and Tsunade were walking towards an empty training ground when Tsunade noticed an evil gleam in her eye. "Well, Haku, it's time to start, and I'll train you hard," Tsunade said, to which Haku nodded. That's exactly what she desired. "Yes, Tsunade-sama," Haku said as they walked away to begin training the brunette. Naruto is involved. Several leaves lay on the ground in front of Naruto. He'd been working on his yin release with his cage bunshin and was getting it down. He had stopped using the kai bunshin after Kyuubi told him he was overusing it, which Naruto could agree on, and they had put a stop to it until Kyuubi said it was okay. "Come on, Naruto-kun, just keep it up. I think you've got the imagination part down, and I think we'll continue this throughout the week," Kyuubi said, and Naruto huffed. Kushina smiled at Naruto's tired face as she watched Kyuubi train her son. He'd been doing so well since last night, and he was getting tired. Not to mention that Kyuubi was teaching him other things while he slept, which was much better for him, but his body wasn't convinced. So, Kyuubi-chan, do we start on the next step to the yin release? Naruto asked, and Kyuubi shook her head, because he had a lot more to learn and wasn't ready for the next step just yet. Naru-kun hasn't arrived yet. You're good at making trees, but now we're going to try something different. Kunai will come next. Remember that kunai aren't like leaves, so you'll need to get a better feel for them, and because they're heavier than leaves, they'll require more chakra to create. We'll keep doing this until you can make a solid-looking human. Naruto sighed as Kyuubi said, and Kanari smiled at her blonde's impatience. But that was the nature of things. Meanwhile, Fu had finished another book on Fuinjutsu and sighed. She had improved, and when Naruto taught her the Kage Bunshin technique, she was a lot better in one day than she could have been in a week, and the blonde couldn't be happier. Okay, Fu-chan, I'd like you to read this book now. When you're finished, we'll put everything together. Don't be concerned about anything else. Now I'm going to do something that will benefit you, and when it wears off, I know you'll be an excellent Fuinjutsu practitioner, Naruto told her, and Fu nodded. The blonde took out an ink pen and uncovered Fu's forehead, which was blocked by her green hair. The blonde told her not to move as he came into close proximity with the Nanabi Jinchuriki, making her blush as his lips were right above hers. Naruto wrote the word concentration in kanji on her head and moved away before adding chakra to his hand and moving away. This is incredible. I feel like I can read this entire book in a matter of hours, and then I'll be able to remember everything when I try it with my clones. What exactly is this? No, don't respond. Let me give it a shot. You wrote the kanji for concentrate on my head to remind me to concentrate on my book, and now I understand it better thanks to the chakra. Isn't the seal integrating its chakra into my senses to help me concentrate better? Fu inquired, and Naruto chuckled. While I wasn't aware of everything, I know you're correct, Fu-chan. For some strange reason, I can only use this once per person and it will never work again. It only lasts about 3 hours before it wears off, so I figured now would be the best time to use it. Fu nodded, not taking her gaze away from the book as Naruto's sweat dropped. I wonder if she even heard me, Naruto thought to himself as he sat next to Fu and waited for her to finish before quizzing her on everything she knew about Fuinjutsu at the time. It also helped that Fu had always been a naturally fast reader. Give her a scroll and she would have read it in about 20 minutes time. She didn't know why, but she was always fascinated with books. Hinata and Naruto were sparring in another part of the woods. She had been hesitant to fight the blonde, but Naruto told her that she needed to improve and that she would need to get better than she already was. Hinata nodded and told him that she would train hard and not be left behind by him. Hinata, come on. You're still hesitant. Your adversaries will not hesitate to take advantage of this. While Hinata huffed, Naruto told her, and she quickly nodded and returned to fighting, trying her best to hit him. But Naruto dodged all her strikes while avoiding her vital points. Naruto was busy training Anko and Kurenai in two different things. Kurenai was now fighting fairly with Naruto's clones while blindfolded, and Anko was doing the same. The two girls could feel that they had improved. Their senses were on a higher level than before, and they could honestly say that they were pleased. Alright ladies, this is a good time to take a break, Naruto said, making Kurenai and Anko sigh with grateful nods. I think my arms are about to fall off, Anko said, and Kurenai agreed with her. Now, if we could just beat him without these blindfolds, I guess it'd be okay, Kurenai said, and Anko nodded. Everyone was taking full advantage of the training camp thanks to Naruto, and while others were being trained by Naruto's Kage Bunshins, he was being trained by his mother and Kyuubi. As Kyuubi stated, she was a much better teacher than Jiraiya and could make Naruto much better. So on that note, the forest of death was filled to the brim with the sounds of fighting, which did more than keep the dangerous animals away. Konoha Hospital at night. Okay, Kimimaro-san, you may depart. Naruto compound Kun's isn't far away, and you'll be there in no time. Just keep to the left and his house will be the farthest back. Shizune mentioned that she had been to Naruto's house before, and Kimimaro nodded, noting that he had yet to see the place and had checked out. Thank you, Shizune-san, but could you please direct me to the interrogation department? I'd like to get Teuya when she's finished if possible. Shizune nodded as Kimimaro pointed him in its direction, and the bone user dashed off to meet her. Kimimaro sighed as he reached into one of his pockets and took out something Naruto had given him, which made the Kaguya sigh again. It had been a long time since he had been this peaceful, and the village had a small aura of warmth that Kimimaro wasn't used to, but he didn't mind it in the least. Naruto-sama, this thing looks weird, Kimimaro thought as he held a small wallet Naruto had given him before he left. Kimimaro had never really been one for money because he always stayed near Kabuto, so this was a bit different to him. He then took out a list and looked at it. It was the small menu Shizune said she had written for him and looked at it. It said that he had to drink. I guess I'll get this done first, Kimimaro said as he entered a store, looked around, and approached a carton with a cow's face on it, rolled his eyes, and took it from the fridge and placed it on the counter. That'll be 228 yen, the cashier said, and Kimimaro opened the wallet. But not before the woman giggled at him for no apparent reason as he handed her the money and walked away with the milk in his hand. I'll get you for this, Naruto-sama, Kimimaro thought as he opened the carton of milk and began to drink it as he walked towards the interrogation department. Teuya is present. The ex-Odo Kunoichi had just been released and cricked her neck. She'd been sitting in a damn chair for the past 8 hours, telling them everything she knew about Orochimaru and wherever his bases were. She'd cooperated, so she was allowed to leave as if nothing had happened. I'm guessing you've come to pick me up, Teuya inquired, and Haku nodded, beginning to walk away, and Teuya followed. Not that she had much of a choice because she had just gotten free, and didn't want to be put in a situation like that again. Teuya was slightly unnerved by the silence as they walked in silence. She noticed Haku's face was slightly impassive, and didn't appear to be in the mood to talk. But Teuya wasn't known for reading certain moods in the air, and this was one of them. So, how is this guy? Teuya inquired, and Haku raised an eyebrow at her query, which Teuya then specified. What is it? What is his name? Naruto. What's his personality like? She had been thinking about her torture with Tsunade and just wanted a nice, cold bath to end her day. If she came off cold, she didn't mean it. She was slightly concerned about Naruto having 2 former enemies stay with them, but she was always like that. She hated to admit it. But besides Naruto, Kiba, and Kakashi, Haku was pretty much wary of anyone else before she got used to them. Naruto-kun, on the other hand, is a mystery in more ways than one. He's a kind and caring person. He's also the type to become enraged quickly if any of his precious people are harmed. He's powerful. That is something Kiba and I can attest to. We were present when he fought to reclaim Tsunade-sama. He's simply incredible. Teuya raised an eyebrow as Haku spoke. Right? It sounds like you really like the guy, Teuya said, and Haku chuckled. She did like Naruto, but for some reason she never really acted on her feelings. She wasn't sure why, but that was for later. I suppose I do like him, Haku said, smiling, while Teuya rolled her eyes. She would never fall for someone like this, she reasoned. After a few more minutes of walking, Teuya and Haku noticed a figure approaching them while drinking from a milk carton. Teuya raised an eyebrow before widening her eyes. It was Kimimaro approaching them and he was the one drinking milk. Teuya snickered while Haku looked amused. Kimimaro, do you have milk? Teuya inquired, causing the Kaguya to raise an eyebrow at her. Teuya, you're hilarious. This is exactly what I've been told to do in order to cure my disease. I don't have time to consider my options, Kimimaro said, taking another gulp of milk and making Teuya smile. Well, if you're both done, Haku said as he walked ahead of them, leaving the 2x Odonin alone. Is she in good health? Teuya shrugged her shoulders as Kimimaro inquired. Fuck if I know her mood swings, Teuya said as she walked alongside Kimimaro. Naruto is involved. Okay, everyone, the first week is done, and we've all worked hard. Let's go home and see if we can't relax in a nice warm bath. I may not look it, but I'm a pretty good cook, Databeo, Naruto said, and the girls all squealed with delight. Finally, a nice warm bath, Fu said as Kyuubi began to walk. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Everyone ran back home while Hinata opened the door to go home and take a bath. Everyone exited the Forest of Death and began running towards the Namikaze compound, with Hinata saying goodbye to Naruto and the others before fleeing for the Hyuga compound. I still can't believe you got all the questions right, Fu-chan, Naruto said, and Fu smiled. They were already difficult. I'm still grateful that I got them all. What do you call a reverse tetragram seal that has been superimposed on a modified blitzer seal? You have no idea how difficult it was to respond to that. Fu yelled, making everyone laugh. Anko and Kurenai had no idea what it was called, but Naruto answered for them. But Fu-chan, you got it anyway. When you said a perfect reserve buster seal that if given too much chakra will cancel all chakra on the wear. You were correct. Naruto recalled his studies on Fuinjutsu from Kyuubi in his earlier years. He still didn't understand a lot of it, but he got the majority of it, and that was all that mattered. Oh, why are we fleeing? Naruto asked and came to a halt, as did the others, and the blonde smiled. Gather around, ladies, Naruto said, and everyone touched a piece of Naruto's clothing before the blonde closed his eyes and locked his chakra onto the house as they all vanished in the Hiraishin. Compound Namikaze. Kasumi sighed as she walked around the house. She had been in the yard reading some taijutsu scrolls and practicing them with her clone so she could improve. But it was getting old and fast. She sighed as she lay on the couch and looked up at the ceiling. When are you going to return home, Naruto-sama? Kasumi asked, and she immediately fell off the couch as she saw everyone teleport in, making her gasp. Hey Kasumi-chan. Naruto grinned sheepishly as Kasumi pouted and approached him. Naruto-sama, don't say hey Kasumi-chan. What have you been up to? Kasumi inquired, and Naruto chuckled again as Kasumi reprimanded him for telling her things. And while he was getting chewed out, Naruto noticed Fu, Kyuubi, and Kushina walk into the bath. If you didn't remember anything else about this house, it had one huge-ass bathroom, with enough room for 4 people, which made Naruto wonder who his parents had over their house that would warrant that much space. Are you paying attention, Naruto-sama? Kasumi inquired, breaking Naruto's trance, and he smiled and nodded. Yes, Kasumi-chan, and I apologize. It will not happen again. Kasumi nodded and hugged Naruto while Naruto wrapped his arms around Kasumi. The two stayed in their hug for a good while before he heard 2 coughs from 2 different people. Naruto and Kasumi looked at each other, and the blonde widened his eyes. Sum-chan. Sum approached Naruto, while Hana and Kiba appeared from behind him, causing Naruto to widen his eyes. Hello, Naruto-kun. I came to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Naruto raised an eyebrow as Sum spoke. You saw me 2 days ago, Sum-chan, Naruto said, and Sum smiled while adopting a thinking pose. Is it really that long? She made a joke, causing Naruto to roll his eyes as he and Kiba bumped fists. So Kiba, you got out of the hospital, huh? Naruto asked and Kiba nodded. That's right, man. The sweet taste of freedom. Kasumi let the 3 of us in and she was supposed to tell you that, Kiba said, and Naruto glared at Kasumi, or at least the spot where she was last standing, as she disappeared. She'll come out of hiding, Naruto said, making Kiba chuckle with a nod. He then sniffed Naruto and covered his nose. Man dude, why do you smell like a damn forest? Kiba asked, and Naruto sighed while he rubbed the back of his head. Well, the funny thing about that is, Naruto ended up telling Hana, Kiba, and Sum about his training trip for the week and said that they just got back a few minutes ago. He told them about his training and yin release for the moment and other things. All 3 were surprised at him for even trying to attempt that, but Naruto then told them about the history. Kyuubi told him about the Sage of 6 Paths, and his connection to the Senju, Uchiha, and Uzumaki, making the 3 and Yuzuka even more surprised. When Naruto just told them was an amazing thing. So are you telling me that you're related to Tsunade and you're a cousin of Sasuke? Kiba asked, and Naruto nodded with the simple question, making Hana and Sum widen their eyes. Even I didn't know that about the Sage of 6 Paths. Did you tell Tsunade or Sasuke? Sum asked, and Naruto shook his head. No, Tsunade got Bachan's enough things to do already, and Sasuke ... Well, would you really tell him that he was a descendant of the guy who created the very start of ninjutsu? He'd have a damn fit, Naruto said, making Sum and Hana nod in agreement. Meanwhile, Kiba walked over to the table in the center of the room and saw the books on the table. Hey Naruto, what are these 2 books? Kiba asked, picking them up, and Naruto turned to them. Oh well, Kumo's Raikage is here and he gave me the stuff from Ramon's kill. I got the rest of his money along with his journal and a book about sword mythology. I was planning to read the journal some more. For now I've only read the first page, Naruto said, and Kiba raised an eyebrow. He read the first page like Naruto did and narrowed his eyes. He stared at the lighting sword on the floor and grinned. No wonder this guy was in a rank missing nin. With that sword, I'm surprised he's not the Raikage, Kiba said as Hana took the book from him. Sum sat next to Hana and both read the page, and like Kiba they stared at the lightning sword. Well, you really know how to pick Naruto-kun, Hana said, and Naruto nodded. It was then that there was a knock on the door, causing everyone to look up. The knob twisted and what came through the door surprised the 4. I told you that you need to stop being a dipshit and speak your mind, damn it, Teuya said, coming through the door while Haku sighed. You really need to use a better vocabulary, Haku said, and Teuya got a tick mark on her head. I'll fucking curse when I want to fucking curse, got that, Teuya said, and after them was Kimimaro, who flicked them both on the head before bowing to Naruto. Sorry about the noise, Naruto-sama, Kimimaro said, and Naruto absently nodded. Haku and Teuya turned while one blushed in embarrassment and the other widened her eyes. And Naruto-kun, sorry about that. I'm gonna go take a shower, Haku said, running up the stairs. Kimimaro, you're out of the hospital too? Naruto asked, and Kimimaro nodded. Meanwhile, Teuya and Naruto locked eyes. It's the blonde shithead, Teuya yelled, and Naruto narrowed his eyes. It's the loudmouth, foul language girl, Naruto yelled, and Teuya gritted her teeth at the blonde while she stomped on the floor. Who are you calling a loudmouth, you damn fucker? Teuya asked while Naruto balled his fists. The two glared at each other while Tsume, Hana and Kiba wondered what happened or what was happening. Who's that? Tsume asked and Kiba looked up from the book on sword mythology at Teuya. Oh, she's one of the 4 who tried to escape with Sasuke. Naruto brought those 2 back or convinced the taller one, and the taller one brought the short one, Kiba said while Tsume and Hana nodded in understanding. Tsume then stood to her feet and clapped her hands. Alright, both of you stop fighting, Tsume said while Naruto sighed and Teuya growled at her too. Who asked, you fucking old hag? Teuya yelled and Tsume smirked. Kimamaro immediately backed away while keeping his impassive face while Naruto backed away along with Kiba and Hana. Tsume and Teuya glared at each other while Tsume grew a tick mark on her head. Who the hell are you talking to, Brett? Tsume asked and Teuya narrowed her eyes. To the fucker in front of me, are you blind hag? You just got out of the hospital. Don't make me put you back in there, damn it. Tsume yelled and Teuya growled at her while the intensity of the room grew more cold. I'd like to see you try it, you damn cocksucker. Teuya yelled back and Tsume was about to retort, but they both were hit into the ground while the others saw Kushina in a bathrobe while she smiled. You're both too loud, Databane. Now shut up or get out, she yelled out, making Tsume nod and Teuya growl, but she agreed also. Phew, I thought this house was going down, Naruto said, making Hana and Kiba nod with him. Before long, Tsume and Teuya huffed at each other and walked in opposite directions. Kimamaro, you can't be serious. I mean, come on, man. Is this the guy that really convinced you? Teuya asked and Kimamaro nodded. Teuya sighed and looked at Naruto, laughing with Tsume, Hana and Kiba. What's so special about him? Teuya asked and Kimamaro just let her talk. He figured she would learn in her own way about Naruto and she might, emphasis on might, learn to like him. In the meantime, he walked over to the blonde and bowed. Would you show me to a room, Naruto-sama? Kimamaro asked and the blonde nodded. He quickly got up and walked away with Kimamaro to show the Kaguya his room while leaving Hana, Kiba and Tsume in the room. But not for long. Aw, that was a good soak. I'm going to bed, Fu said, coming down to get some water, and with her cup she immediately walked down the hall and disappeared, but not before saying something. Oh, and you guys should stop yelling. Kyuubi-san finally went to sleep and trust me that she hates getting woken up. Just a warning, Fu said, then vanished. Naruto soon came back and saw the 4 still in the room. He sighed, then laid on the couch. Well, Kimamaro's going back to bed and so is Haku-chan. Kasumi-chan is somewhere nearby, but everyone is sound asleep for the time being. Kurenai-chan and Anko-chan have both left, so I guess that's the end of it. Naruto said this before Tsume sat down beside him. So you told us about Reikage and how you defeated that rank missing nin, correct? Tsume said, and Naruto nodded. Teuya widened her eyes as she leaned against a wall, only half-heartedly listening, but even that piqued her interest. He was defeated, and a rank was missing nin. This jerk. No way. Teuya paused, and the blonde continued. Yeah, about that. Well, Tsume-chan, they wanted to thank me for the whole thing and ... it became a marriage proposal, Naruto said, and Tsume widened her eyes. Hana and Kiba both gasped, as if they all thought it was some kind of bad dream. Are you sure? Tsume inquired, and Naruto nodded before patting Tsume's back and kissing her cheek. Don't be concerned, Tsume-chan. Reikage was aware of the CRA and stated that it had no effect on anything. So I can still be with you and you can continue to be the alpha female if you so desire. Everyone perked up when Naruto said this. That's great news. I'm excited to meet her. Have you already met her? Tsume inquired, and Naruto nodded. Yujiro Nai is her name. When you first meet her, she is extremely pleasant. Tsume nodded. But not before Naruto kissed him on the lips. That's great. I don't mind as long as she knows where she belongs. Naruto sweat dropped as Tsume said. Tsume-chan, you're frightening, Naruto thought as Teuya sighed. What a strange yaw. Lady, are you a pedo or what? Teuya inquired, and Naruto glared at her, as did Hana and Kiba. Kissing small boys. You could just as easily be Orochi. Teuya came to a halt as she was led to Tsukuyomi, while Naruto stared at her. Teuya, I can take a lot, but I don't like it when you say that to Tsume-chan. She bears no resemblance to Orochimaru. Kimamaro desired to save you, and I agreed. Remember, I could have left you to die in the woods, but I didn't. You're free to leave, but you won't stay here and insult the people I care about, got it? Naruto asked, glaring at her with the Sharingan, making Teuya narrow her eyes, and even though she wouldn't admit it in her lifetime, she had a small amount of respect for the blonde. Whatever, shithead. I don't have anywhere else to go, so I guess I can stay here. I apologize. Shithead. Naruto sighed and let go of Tsukuyomi, while Teuya fell to the ground. Tsume was about to yell at Teuya when Naruto sat back down on the couch, but the Oto Nin beat her to it. I sincerely apologize. I guess I went too far, Teuya grumbled, and Tsume, if only slightly, lost the courage to yell. I'm tired, so where should I sleep in this place? Teuya inquired, and Naruto instructed her to follow him as they vanished from view. Kasan, she's a piece of work, isn't she? Kiba inquired, and Sum growled. She's got a real mouth, that one, but I'll straighten her out someday, Sum said, making Hana and Kiba laugh, before Naruto returned and sighed. Sorry about that, Sum-chan, Naruto apologized, and Sum waved it off. It's fine, Naruto-kun. Now it appears that you are the only one awake. Maybe we should go as well, Naruto smiled as Sum said. I'm not going to be there just yet, and it's not that late. Everyone is simply exhausted. Naruto said this before taking Raymond's journal and sitting on the couch with his swords drawn. Do you think you could assist me? Naruto inquired, and all three in Inuzuka nodded. Sure, what would you like us to do? Hana inquired, and Naruto indicated his swords. Could each of you hold one of those swords? Sum took the fire sword, Hana took the wind sword, and Kiba took the lightning sword. Naruto was surprised that they didn't react to the three of them, but he didn't care at the time. Okay, just hold them for a few moments while I read this journal. I'll read 2 entries and attempt to make sense of them, Naruto said as Sum, Hana, and Kiba nodded, and they sat on the couch as Naruto opened the journal and turned to the next page of the book, reading aloud so Sum, Hana, and Kiba could hear as the lights in the house were turned down to a low setting. Day 2, as I mentioned in my journal, I went to the library. I looked up something interesting in the book on sword mythology. My lighting sword has turned out to be a mythical sword. The book mentioned Kami and how he possessed 5 swords. 5 beings received these swords: fire, wind, lightning, water, and earth beings. These beings used the swords to create the earth's elements, but they also help to inspire nature throughout the world. It is said that swords are drawn to those who have a certain spirit. If all 5 bond to one person, that person is known as the savior. I'm not sure what it means, and maybe believing in myths is stupid. Nonetheless, I kept reading the book. It told of each being wanting to be superior with its sword, and how the 5 beings fought against each other in Kami's eyes. Seeing the war raging between them with the gift that Kami bestowed upon them, he dispersed the swords throughout the world, to be wielded only by those worthy of the swords. This book may have confirmed my theory that there are 4 more swords in the world. I'm curious how much stronger I'll become with them, but that'll have to wait until tomorrow. Naruto closed the book while Sum, Hana, and Kiba observed his reaction. The blonde appeared perplexed, and with reason. Naruto-kun, did you find out anything? Hana inquired, and the brunette sighed. So far, Hana-chan, this journal indicates that Raymond had the lightning sword for the first time and went to investigate its origins. It is said that Kami created these swords and gave them to 5 beings. They were greedy with their swords and wanted to see who was the best, so they fought, causing Kami to scatter the swords throughout the world. He claimed that when the swords are gathered, the savior will appear. Naruto raised an eyebrow, and Sum and Kiba gazed in awe at the swords. Are these Kami's swords? That could explain why Ten-chan has no idea who made them. Kiba stated that in the past. He attributed this to the number of people who made swords in the elemental nations. Well, Naru-kun, you have 3, so maybe you're it, Hana said, sighing as he realized it was getting late. Okay, I'll think about it later. Let's move on to the next date, Naruto said, flipping the page, and then read aloud the final page of the night. Day 3. I slept poorly because the information I had learned the day before was still fresh in my mind. I was so taken aback by the information that I wondered if it was true. I showed my sword to a master blacksmith, who declared it to be the finest piece of metal he had ever seen. He had no idea what kind of metal it was, but he tested the sword with his toughest metal, and it sliced through it like it was nothing. He said he didn't know what to think of it, so I just kept it. I used the sword because it was close to the Jonin exams. I worked with it all day and I think it likes me. I even got into a sparring match with this one guy, Darui or something like that. He tried to fight me with his Kekai Genkai, the storm release, but my lightning sword dispatched him quickly. Okay, I lied to myself. It was a draw only because he was irritated about something. He's so strange, saying things are boring one minute and serious the next. I refuse to tell Reikage about my sword because I know how conceited he is about his own strength. I suppose I should end my journal here. I have a mission with it coming up soon. He's just as arrogant as his father, though I think B is funny with his rhymes and such. I think I should leave now. Naruto rubbed his eyes and closed the book. He didn't want to think about it right now, and he was tired. Take care of it tomorrow, Naruto-kun. You should rest because you are tired. We'll leave the swords here by the couch. We have no choice but to leave. I'll see you tomorrow, Sum said, and Naruto nodded, knowing he was tired and walking up the stairs. Alright, Sum-chan, I'll see you tomorrow, Naruto said, and Sum nodded as she, Hana, and Kiba said their goodbyes to the blonde and Naruto turned off the lights downstairs. Naruto entered his room, sighed, and sweat dropped when he saw Kasumi sleeping in it. Kasumi-chan, you're far too daring. I'm even too exhausted to yell at you as the entire compound went dark. Naruto got into bed and went to sleep. Meanwhile, the swords lay on the couch. Each glowed brightly. The fire sword slightly flared, the wind sword howled, and the lightning sword cackled for a few seconds before they settled down and nothing happened for the rest of the night. And no one knew what happened to them. The following morning, Tayuya groaned as she rose from her bed. She had just slept in a more than comfortable bed, and she could honestly say that it was probably good to have one every now and then. She got to her feet and rubbed her head. She only had her clothes from the previous day, so she put those back on. Fortunately for her, the hospital had washed them while she was passed out, so it was fine. Maybe this seedy neighborhood isn't so bad after all, Tayuya thought as she entered the living room. The sight she came up to surprised her. Okay, Kyuubi-chan, can you sweep the decks of the house? I'll clean the dishes. Fu-chan and Haku-chan can water the plants. Kimamaro can sweep the floor. And Ka-san can clean counters, Naruto said to Kyuubi, who nodded. When Tayuya noticed Kushina cleaning the place while Naruto did the dishes, she raised an eyebrow. Kyuubi swept the porches of the house while Kimamaro cleaned the interior. She also noticed Fu and Haku watering the plants outside. Shithead, what are you doing? Tayuya inquired, and Naruto turned to face her while continuing to do the dishes. Oh, you're awake. Would you mind assisting us all? Naruto asked, and Tayuya narrowed her eyes. What, after all, was that supposed to mean? What are you all up to? Tayuya inquired, and Naruto laughed. If you didn't do it with Orochimaru, it's called chores, and we do them together. And now that you're up, you can help us too, Naruto said, rolling her eyes. No fucking way, you sack of shit, Tayuya said, glaring at Naruto. Alright, I guess you can sleep outside. Those who help with chores don't eat or sleep in the beds, Naruto said, and Tayuya's jaw dropped. What about that strange-looking girl? Kasumi, she's not doing anything, Tayuya asked, pointing to the ceiling. Tayuya looked up to see Kasumi smiling as she washed the ceiling. Naruto-sama says that even the ceiling should be clean because it was when he first arrived. So I used my chakra to cling to the walls and walked up to the ceiling, Kasumi said as Tayuya sighed and Naruto grinned. Fuckface, what should I do? Tayuya asked, not seeing many options. If she tried to flee, she would be apprehended and imprisoned. Or she could swallow her pride and help with the chores. Well, my clones are taking care of the bathrooms, so could you wipe the walls? Naruto asked, and Tayuya nodded, snatching a cloth from Naruto and beginning to clean everything. She was still a little sleepy, but she was always up early, so it wasn't a big deal. Everyone in the house was working quickly because no one had been at the compound for the past week. It took about an hour and a half, but everyone was finished and resting in various locations throughout the house. When everyone heard a knock on the door, Naruto got up to answer it. The blonde rose to his feet and approached the door. When he opened it, he saw Yugao standing there wearing her mask. She didn't show it, but she was slightly smiling at the blonde as she bowed slowly. Hello Namikaze-sama, I'm here to tell you that Tsunade-sama has requested your presence, along with the other Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin, and she would like to see you right now, Yugao said, and Naruto nodded. He sighed and returned upstairs. Where are you going, Naruto-sama? Kasumi inquired, and the blonde shrugged his shoulders. Tsunade-bachan wants me for something, so I'll see what that's all about. I'll be here later. Fu-chan, when I get back, we'll have you work with Nanabi, Naruto said, and Fu nodded while Nanabi smiled. Naruto hurriedly showered and dressed. He dressed in a dark blue jacket, black pants, and a red shirt. He was wearing his blue shoes this time. He walked down the stairs, and all the girls looked at him. See you later, Naru-kun, and tell us about the meeting when you get back, Kushina said, to which Naruto nodded. He took his 3 swords and exited the room with Yugao. How is Anbu's life? Naruto inquired of the purple-haired Anbu as she led him to the mansion. It's satisfying when it wants to be, but will you tell me where you got those swords? I've never seen them before, Yugao said, admiring the intricate designs of all 3. Naruto sighed, holding one in his hand. Would you like to see it? Naruto asked, and Yugao quickly took the sword from his grasp, causing the blonde to sweat. He watched as Yugao gazed at the sword's gleaming metal and expressed her admiration for it. Whoever made this really knew what they were doing. This metal is far superior than even the Anbu use. This is amazing, Yugao said, and Naruto chuckled. I suppose. Well, it appears that we've arrived, Naruto said, and Yugao looked up. They covered the distance while talking, and the purple-haired Anbu blushed. Sorry about that. I guess I'll go now. Good luck, Yugao smirked as he handed Naruto the sword. Hard to believe you tried to kill me just a few days ago. he said, rolling her eyes through her mask. You held me against my will and nearly drove me insane with your questions. How was I supposed to act? She joked, and Naruto turned to face her. Perhaps emotionless like all Anbu, Naruto countered, causing Yugao's brow to twitch. Granted, she was supposed to act that way, but no one did. It was more of a suggestion than a command. I'd rather not act like that. I take pride in my work, so get going or Hokage-sama will hound me for having you late, Yugao said, as Naruto entered the Hokage mansion and Yugao shunshined off. Naruto walked through the building and noticed a sign pointing to the largest room in the Hokage mansion, which happened to be right below it. Naruto walked down the stairs, which were shaped like a descending spiral staircase. Naruto had walked all the way down and was about to open a door when someone grabbed his shoulder. Naruto turned around to see Anko and Kurenai standing behind him. I think Hokage-sama summoned all the Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin, Naruto, Anko said, and Naruto nodded. What do you think it's for? Naruto inquired, and both Jonin women shrugged. We might as well open this door and find out, Kurenai suggested, and Naruto did just that. They gasped as they walked through. Tsunade stood atop a small podium, flanked by the Raikage and his associates, with Shizune standing behind her. He also encountered all of the Konoha Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin. He also encountered Kakashi, Gai, Tsume, Inoichi, Hayashi, Chusa, Asuma, Shibai, and Shikaku. The area was littered with Jonin, with Naruto being the smallest of them all. Hey Tsume-chan, I'm guessing you're here as well, Naruto inquired, and Tsume nodded. The blonde then turned to see the others approaching. This is so annoying, what's the point of it all? Shikaku rubbed his chin. Who knows, maybe something serious has happened, Inoichi said, turning to the older blonde. Like what? He inquired, and no one responded until someone else approached them. Well, we won't get anything by just standing around, so let's just see for now, Genma said as she approached them from behind. The others nodded, and it was difficult not to tell the other Jonin who were talking to stop talking for a while. Tsunade approached everyone and raised her hand after a few minutes of allowing everyone to adjust. Everyone immediately fell silent and waited for Tsunade to explain what was going on. Alright, I know you're all confused as to why I summoned you all here, but I'll tell you that this isn't a serious matter. I've decided to liven up this village a little with an event of mine. I've had the Anbu create this event without most of you knowing for at least 2 or 3 weeks prior to this time. As you all know, the Raikage has decided to stay and watch this little event, Tsunade said, making nobody knew what she was talking about. But Tsunade persisted. What I've planned is an event that will create a truly genuine sense of competition between our Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin. You've all come because you've been invited to take part in the HPT. I know you're all wondering what that is, so I'll get right to it. I've deemed this competition to be similar to the Chunin exams. You must all participate, and the winner will receive a special prize. Naruto was completely perplexed. What was the point of this? A Hokage placement competition. In nature, the concept sounded ridiculous. What is the purpose of this tournament? Someone inquired, and all eyes turned to Tsunade for an answer. The goal of this is to instill a competitive spirit in Konoha. One of the reasons it's called the Hokage placement tournament is that I won't be in office for long, Tsunade explained, drawing everyone's attention. Naruto's jaw dropped, as did Kakashi's, and all the other Jonins. Are you kidding me? After all the trouble I went through to get you, you're not going to be the Hokage. Tsunade-bachan, are you insane? Naruto asked bluntly, and while people might have chosen a more respectful way to respond, they could be certain that they agreed with Naruto. Tsunade laughed as she folded her arms. Don't be such a stupid brat. You didn't let me finish what I was saying. Now, if I can continue, Jiraiya has some news that involves my medical expertise and it's a little out of the way to do. I'd be too far from Konoha, but this kind of money would be beneficial to the village. I don't know how long I'll be gone, but it'll be more than 2 years, so I'll need to leave the village. And Naruto relaxed after hearing her explanation for leaving. But it didn't feel entirely credible. He had no idea what she was up to, but the excitement inside the blonde was almost too much for him. This is going to be fun, Databeo, Naruto thought, visibly grinning, causing his associates to stare at him, despite the fact that they could see why he was excited. Something like this was extremely unusual. What happens if we don't participate? Shikaku yawned, and Tsunade glared at him with a firm smile. Well, you forfeit, and you'll be doing paperwork that's piled up in the mansion. I'm sure if everyone quit, it'd be done in no time. But do you really want the work? Tsunade asked, and Shikaku winced. He was already having issues with his clan documents. He didn't require anything else. Shikaku chuckled as he said, so damn bothersome. Tsume smiled as she turned to face Naruto. So, are you going to participate? Tsume inquired, and Naruto rolled his eyes. Come on, Tsume-chan, you know I'm not one to back down, Naruto said, to which everyone laughed. There didn't appear to be any withdrawals because no one wanted to deal with whatever paperwork Tsunade still had to do. Tsunade decided to raise her hand because no one seemed to be against it. Alright, just to be fair, there will be groups of 3, just like the Chunin exams. No one is assigned to anyone else. If you want to be a team with your friends, then do so. This will begin in 5 days. It's a little short notice, but that's my fault. So make your teams. They must be comprised of Jonin or Tokubetsu Jonin. The Anbu around the village will be the exam proctors. This would be fascinating for him to witness. It would be an excellent opportunity to test Yujito's fiance's strength. The room was quiet for a few moments before the Jonin began to talk amongst themselves. Some were ecstatic to be doing something like this, while others were still perplexed, but because they didn't want to deal with paperwork, they didn't complain about anything. Yosh, Kakashi, I will fight you until I die, and our flames of youth will shine bright this day, Guy yelled, rubbing the back of his head. You say something, Guy? Kakashi inquired, while Guy growled something about Kakashi's hip attitude and such. Naruto wasn't paying close attention at the time. This can't be good, Shizune said, because that means I have to join in, which I don't want to do. Naruto smiled at her. He comforted the medic nin by patting her shoulder. Well, it's quite simple when you think about it. Hokage-sama needs someone to replace her while she handles whatever is going on in Numa no Kuni. It wouldn't be wise to leave us here without a leader, and this way she will find the most logical choice from everyone. It's a bit cut and dry, but it works, Shibai said, prompting the others to nod. Sigh, fine. If I have to do this, I'll team up with Inoichi and Chusa. After all, we are the Inoshika-cho trio, Shikaku said, while Inoichi and Chusa nodded in agreement. Their family had been that way for hundreds of generations, and it wasn't going to change. Well, that's great for you guys. I'll take Shibai because I'm used to working with him, but I guess someone else will do just as well, Genma said, and Shibai nodded. Alright, then, Naruto said as everyone turned to face him. I'll take Kurenai-chan and Shizune-chan. Kurenai raised an eyebrow, but the blonde smiled back. Don't worry about the details, just trust me, Databeo, Naruto said, and while Kurenai and Shizune wanted to refute him, they simply didn't know how or what words to say, so they relented and agreed. Finally, Kakashi, Guy, and Asuma formed one group, while Ibiki, Enko, and Tsume formed another. Another group included Naruto, Shizune, and Kurenai, as well as Genma, Shibai, and Hayashi. Shikaku, Inoichi, and Chusa came last. Everyone had gotten into their groups that they wanted, and although it took a while, more like an hour, everyone had their own groups and were handed their waivers at the door. The waiver read about the competitor agreeing to the terms of the event, and disregard would be seen as forfeiture. Not to mention that if they died, there would be no consequences. Everyone naturally agreed to it until some people objected. Wait, she never said where this thing started, yelled Naruto as the Jonin began to sweat. This has just gotten a lot more difficult for them all. She forgot to tell us where this thing is, yelled Naruto, causing all the Jonin to gasp. They were all aware that the blonde was correct. She hadn't told them where they were supposed to go to take this event, or exam, as some of them referred to it. Perhaps we should just ask her then, Shizune said to the nodding Jonin in the room, but then an Anbu entered the room and looked around. While the Anbu coughed, some people paid attention to him. Tsunade-sama has done this on purpose. As Hokage, you need to be able to make accurate deductions and pick up on the clues that have been left to you as the leader of Konoha. Tsunade-sama has sent me to give you all the clues while she tends to her office, Anbu said. And everyone soon began to pay attention to what Anbu was about to say. The place of new beginnings. It's where you start and where you improve. It's where the will of fire burns the brightest, the Anbu said before sunshining off, leaving everyone stunned. What's that supposed to mean? Someone yelled as the other Jonin pondered. Naruto racked his brain for the answer to the clue that had been given to them all. He noticed a few Jonin and their teams smirking as they walked out. They appeared to have the answer and then left. So much for being a fellow Jonin. Naruto noticed Kakashi and the other Jonin smirking as they left. Naruto narrowed his eyes and reconsidered the clue. Let's go see a place of new beginnings. There are so many places in Konoha that could be like that, but for shinobi, it's now limited. Where you begin and improve it must be. Naruto widened his eyes and grinned. He couldn't help but admire Tsunade. She left hints as to where it could be found. She stated that she wanted it to be similar to the Chunin exams, and where were those held last year? The academy, Naruto reflected, smiling. He was almost certain of it. He could even say he was downright good with the answer. Shizune ni Kurenai-chan, I know it, Naruto said quietly. Kurenai and Shizune knelt as Naruto spoke into their ears. They both gasped as they considered it. Naruto's theory made a lot of sense and was certainly sound. I believe Naruto is correct. Shizune, that could be the location, Kurenai said, and Shizune nodded. She then stood up and pointed to the others. Should we tell everyone else? She asked, and Naruto shook his head, raising Kurenai and Shizune's eyebrows as he explained. A similar thing like this happened back in the Chunin exams. There was a door with 2 guards at it. They placed a genjutsu on the floor and made it our room number. But we only went up 2 stairs when we needed to go up 1 more. It was to see if anyone could figure it out and get to the real place on time or they would fail. Plus it meant less competition for others who did figure it out. They realized he was correct because the less competition they had, the better. I guess you're right, Naruto-kun. I'd rather not face them all, Shizune said, and Naruto nodded. He was relieved that his team had agreed with him. Alright, then, like the others, let's go without saying anything, Naruto said. Shizune and Kurenai agreed, and the 3 left the room, which was still full of jonin, but they knew that given enough time, some of them would figure it out. Alright, we should use this day to get to know each other and come up with some formations. The event isn't for another 5 days, so I want to know about my teammates. Let's walk back to my house as we talk. I'll do a Kakashi-sensei-like introduction. So Shizune ni Kurenai-chan, tell me your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams, then I'll do the same, Naruto said as Shizune took the initiative and began her introduction. Alright, as both of you know, my name is Shizune Kato. My favorite foods are cooked bean rice and walks with Tonton and Tsunade-sama. My least favorite foods are pork, debt collectors, and Tsunade-sama when she's drunk and doesn't get her work done. My hobby is visiting cultural heritage sites because I find the history fascinating. My dream is to settle down someday and be a great medic nin, Shizune, while Kurenai began hers. Naruto and Kurenai smiled at some of it. Okay then, my name is Kurenai Yuhai, and I enjoy going to hot springs, reading books, and spending time with my squad when I can. I dislike perverts, those who don't take their jobs seriously, and those who make a mockery of genjutsu. My hobby is watching the sunset with an evening drink in my hands, and my dream is to prove to the world that genjutsu is just as good as ninjutsu. They were still walking through the village when they entered the clan section and passed the Uchiha Hyuga compound. Wow, you girls really do it well. Now I guess it's my turn. As you should know, I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. I like training, all my loved ones, and people who work hard. I also like ramen and all the members of my clan. My dislikes are perverts, people who give up too easily the time it takes to cook ramen, and that damn Orochi pedo. So, when should we start training? Shizune asked, and Naruto nodded. I now understand why Tsunade-sama gave me the time off, so I can do whatever I want for now, Shizune said, and Naruto nodded. Alright, let's get started. I think we should go to a separate training ground, and I'm sure the Jonin are all going to their training ground as well, Naruto said, and his partners agreed. Naruto opened the door to his house and discovered that it was empty. He cocked his brow as he noticed a note on the back of the door. Naruto-kun, we all went back to the Forest of Death to train. Hyubai felt the mental link to you and found out about the event. We won't say anything and we hope you do well. I'll be taking over Fu's Fuinjutsu lessons. Hinata has a D rank mission with some of the others being led by a Chunin. Kimamaro and Tayuya had to see Tsunade about something. Uzumaki Kushina. Naruto sighed as he examined the note, but he did not complain and placed it in his pocket. Well, since we appear to have the house to ourselves, I suppose we'll use this place's training area, Naruto suggested as Kurenai tapped him on the shoulder. Why would you have us go into the Forest of Death if you had a training area? Kurenai wondered. While sitting on the couch, Naruto sheepishly grinned and rubbed the back of his head. Well, that area's not really that big. It's only big enough for 3 people to practice perfectly, and the Forest of Death provides more experience, so that's why. Now then, I chose you two for some personal and practical reasons. Shizune, you're a medic nin, so I really wanted you on my team. You're also a mid-ranged fighter who's good on her feet. Kurenai-chan, you're along that explains why he didn't put Anko and Kurenai on the same team. Everything was still for training purposes. Well, you've certainly thought it through. Now, how should we execute our formations? Kurenai inquired, and Naruto produced a piece of paper. Simple, we'll choose our formations based on my Dojutsu, Naruto explained, making Shizune and Kurenai even more perplexed. Naruto chuckled at their perplexity, but took an ink pen and began writing on the paper. Alright, I'll show you, Naruto said as he displayed his Sharingan, Byakugan, and Shinsenagan. Kurenai and Shizune were astounded, and Naruto returned his eyes to their original blue color. We'll do our formations based on these 3 Dojutsu. The Byakugan is a close combat type Dojutsu, so Shizune and I will be close to mid-range while Kurenai-chan will be long-range. The Sharingan is for close to mid-range jutsu, so when we do that I'll be doing the close combat while Shizune and Kurenai-chan will be long-range. Shizune nodded, seeing the sound plan he devised, and Kurenai saw no reason to argue. She knew she was getting better at Taijutsu, and if Naruto knew it, there would be no problem. I don't have any arguments, Naruto-kun, Shizune said, and Kurenai agreed. Naruto stood to his feet with a smile and a nod of his own. Alright, Databeo, let's get to practicing, and then we'll try some collaboration techniques, mainly Kurenai-chan and I will try to do some good Jinjutsu. Her mastery of Jinjutsu and my Tsukayomi, I think it could be devastating, Naruto said, and Kurenai, while she didn't show it, was more than willing to try and work on a Genjutsu. Alright, let's get to work, we only have 5 days to get this right, Shizune said, not wanting to waste any time as the 3 walked into the training area. Somewhere out in the boonies. Leader-sama, what trickery is this? Zetsu inquired as everyone narrowed their eyes and gazed at Orochimaru, who was grinning madly. Silence. We have Orochimaru with us for the benefit of the group, he said as Itachi stared at the snake Sannin. There were no other Konoha shinobi in Akatsuki, and only a few others. Why do we need him? We were fine on our own. One of them said as Pain looked at him. Are you questioning a god's word? Pain inquired, and everyone remained silent. No one could compete with him, and few wanted to. As they approached, each member of Akatsuki sighed. Deidara, Hidden, Kakuzu, Itachi, Kasama, Konan, Sasori, Zetsu, and Pain were among those present. All except 2, who had gone missing from their respective villages. We're not questioning you, Pain-sama. It's just that he did betray us before, Kakuzu said, glaring at Orochimaru. Everyone else nodded as if they agreed with Kakuzu's accusation. Pain sighed and turned to face Orochimaru. The only reason we're letting him back is because he's useful to us. We were more powerful with him than without. Now if that's over, I'll pair Orochimaru with Zetsu. He'll be a part of reconnaissance for us. We'll also make use of the bases that he has around the elemental nations. Zetsu, Orochimaru will meet up with you at the desired location. Don't be late, Pain said. Yes, Pain-sama, we will not be late, the black half said, and everyone faded out as Pain turned to Orochimaru. I'm not going to accept tricks this time, so you'd better watch what you do around us, Pain said, and Orochimaru laughed. Don't worry, Kyukuku, as long as I get what I want, I'll make sure to do what you want ... for now, Orochimaru said, leaving Nagato and Konan behind. Nagato narrowed his eyes again as Zetsu appeared from the side of the wall next to them. Zetsu, keep an eye on him. Orochimaru is probably the only one I can't figure out. We have to be prepared for anything, Pain said, and the Venus flytrap man nodded before slinking back into the wall. Let's go, Konan. We have things to do, Nagato said as he and Konan exited the room. Returned to Konoha. Tsunade sat at her desk, a cheerful grin on her face. She was eager for the 5 days to be over. She'd begin packing as soon as the winner was announced and placed in Konoha. Reikage was standing right next to her, staring at a picture of the Yondaime. I still hate him, and now his kid knows that jutsu? How cool is that? Rolled his eyes as Tsunade chuckled from behind her desk. It's not surprising. He's grown into quite the man, Tsunade said, and nodded, knowing that the boy did seem quite special, especially since he could fall Yujiro the way he could. Tell me, Tsunade, I felt a chakra from that boy. It's quite high, almost surpassing ours. Is he a Jinchuriki? I inquired, and Tsunade stiffened before nodding that the blonde was. I chuckled and returned his attention to the picture. Oh, the irony. B and Yujiro are the only ones who have more chakra than me. To think we paired up 2 Jinchuriki. This is probably going to be one powered up kid, I said, and Tsunade didn't want to think about it. Please don't tell me that. I already have enough of a problem and don't need any more, Tsunade said. And it chuckled at her, knowing how she had already attempted to deal with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I still think it's amazing that you came up with something like this. I'm sure the others in my village would want to see it as well, I said, and Tsunade nodded, but this was strictly a Konoha affair, and no other village was permitted to attend. Tsunade simply allowed the Reikage to observe as a courtesy. Well, in a few days, you'll be able to enjoy it to the fullest, Tsunade said, and nodded, wishing the days would fly by so he could watch. After all, Tsunade's crystal ball was a useful tool when she used it. Tsunade sighed as he heard a knock on the door. Come in, she said, and Kimimaro and Teuya entered the room right away. Raised an eyebrow but said nothing as he watched the 2 nin appear in front of Tsunade. Is there anything I can assist you with, Kimimaro-san? Tsunade inquired, and Kimimaro bowed. Tsunade-sama, do you think you could make Teuya and I shinobi? I believe we can't just sit around doing nothing while he's at Naruto house. Sama's, so we'd like to offer you our services, Kimamaro said, and Tayuya grunted in agreement. Tsunade raised an eyebrow and rested her elbows on the table. Well, I have no real problem with that. And since you're Naruto's clansman, I technically can't say no to that, so I won't. I can't put you two into service right now because of an event coming up in a few days, and besides, it wouldn't really be my call on it, but someone else's. You'll know about it when the event is over. Naruto really has two good followers, Tsunade said, raised an eyebrow as the two left to do some training. Was that a Kaguya? He asked, and Tsunade nodded. Pondered the thought for a few moments before dismissing it. I thought they died out. That has to be the last one, said, and Tsunade nodded once more. The silence descended on them, but looked out the window. I'm just curious who's going to win this thing. It'll be interesting, said, and Tsunade laughed. I'm betting on someone, Tsunade said, and shuddered. Kami, help him then, said, earning Tsunade a tick as she tried to let that one slide. But it was proving difficult for the slug princess. Naruto is back. The sun was setting, and all three of them were exhausted. They were exhausted from practicing the techniques they could and would use during the exams. Okay, I think that's enough for one day, Naruto said, to which the others nodded. Shizun's clothes were slightly ripped, and sweat was dripping from Kurenai's brow. Naruto helped his partners to their feet and returned them to the house with some water. I think we should rest for tomorrow, my arms can't take much more of this, Shizun said. And Naruto shook his head, but he understood her predicament. Shizun had a minor stamina issue as a Jonin, but it was nothing Naruto couldn't fix in 5 days. Well, I guess you two can go home now, unless you want to stay here and for the night, Naruto said. And while the two women appreciated the offer, they shook their heads and said it wasn't necessary. Naruto could tell they were tired, and while he had the stamina to back him up, he knew they didn't. Shizun and Kurenai left Naruto's house after about an hour of rest, leaving the blonde alone in the vast space. Naruto considered going to see how everyone was doing, but he reasoned that they would be fine and that if they needed him, Kyuubi would contact him. Oh well, I guess I'll take a shower then, Naruto thought to himself as he stripped naked and jumped into the bath. As his hair dripped over his face, he sighed as he felt the hot water on his body. He stayed in the bath for about 30 minutes because he had been extra dirty, and the hot water felt too good to leave in just a few minutes. Aw, this is heavenly, Naruto exclaimed as he relaxed in his bath. He stayed in there for another 10 minutes before stepping out and drying his body with his towel. The blonde exited the shower and entered his room. He put on some familiar clothes, which included a red muscle shirt and black shorts. He turned on the light and sat on his bed, thinking that while reading Raymond's journal on his swords, he should also practice his yin release. He chose the latter, and Kyuubi instructed him to try to make kunai out of it. On that note, Naruto drew a kunai and a shuriken. He first felt the kunai and knelt down, closing his eyes. He sat in a meditative pose, focused his chakra, and let his imagination run along the kunai's features. He took a deep breath and sat in silence for a few moments. When Naruto opened his eyes, he saw nothing. He sighed and looked up at the ceiling. It's a simple copy. Try it again, Naruto said to himself as he closed his eyes once more. He refocused on the kunai and attempted to make it work for him. He had the leaves down and was now onto the kunai. He calculated the weight and density of the kunai. He traced the pointed tip of the kunai down to the handle, palm up, while holding the real kunai in his right hand. While Naruto was sweating, a kunai began to form. It was more difficult than a leaf, so he needed a lot more chakra to complete the task. When he saw the same kunai across from his other hand, he opened his eyes and smiled. Okay, I got it, but my chakra is low from the training, so I'll go get some food, Naruto said as he dropped the 2 kunai and exited the room. He returned moments later with a steaming cup of ramen, which the blonde slurped up. He quickly finished the cup of noodles and returned to work. Alright, let's keep going, Naruto said as the night progressed. There were about 20 kunai and 10 shuriken in Naruto's room, and the blonde was grinning maniacally. He'd only learned about kunai and shuriken, but he knew Kyuubi had more in store for him. Looks like I should clean up this mess, Naruto said as he answered the door. The blonde raised an eyebrow before making 2 clones to clean up the mess while he answered the door. The door knocked again, and Naruto quickly opened it. When he saw Hana walk through the door, he was taken aback. Good evening, Naruto-kun, Hana said, inviting Naruto inside. Hello Hana-chan, what's the matter? Naruto inquired, and Hana smiled, causing Naruto to look at her strangely. I just wanted to see you because Kasen told me about the HPT and I knew you'd join. Hana said as she sat on the couch. Naruto nodded and chuckled as he went into the kitchen to get Hana something to drink. Hana accepted the drink and sipped it graciously. It was some herbal tea, which she didn't mind because she liked the flavor. "So, what's the problem?" Naruto inquired, and Hana smiled before surprising the blonde with a quick kiss before pulling back and allowing him to savor her herbal tea-flavored lips. "I just wanted to thank you. I tell you, Naruto, Kasan was really having a hard time until she met you. You also brought her back to her cheery self, and while she's still pushy, she's also a lot happier. You really changed our lives, you know," Hana said, and Naruto sheepishly chuckled while rubbing the back of his head in slight embarrassment of Hana's kind words. "It's no big deal, Hana-chan. I love you and Sum-chan. Hiba's like the brother I've always wanted, and I'd do anything for you guys," Naruto said, to which Hana nodded. "I knew you would, and we appreciate it," Hana said, leaning in close to Naruto. The blonde barely had time to react when Hana's lips pressed against his. Naruto's eyes widened, but Hana didn't give him time to recover before shoving him onto the couch. Hana smiled as she released the kiss, while Naruto's face turned beet red. "Naruto-kun, I need you. I love you so much that I love you back," Hana said, and Naruto jolted awake. He smiled softly as he placed his right hand on Hana's cheek and watched her nuzzle it for a moment. "I love you too, Hana-chan," Naruto said, and Hana smiled as she and Naruto reconnected in their kiss. Hana and Naruto quickly embraced as their bodies heated up from their attraction. Naruto could taste the herbal tea leaving Hana's lips, and it tasted delicious as a result. Hana's need for him was palpable through her kiss as she stuck her tongue in his mouth. Naruto made no complaint about it. As the two were locked together, he could feel Hana's soft breath. Both kissed each other for a few minutes and looked each other in the eyes. Hana saw the endless ocean in Naruto's eyes, while Naruto saw the pure desire of a woman who truly desired him. Naruto then surprised Hana by grabbing her buttocks and bringing her lips back to his. Hana was taken aback by Naruto's initiative with her, but she didn't complain. While Naruto sucked her tongue possessively, she cupped the blonde's cheeks as she hungrily tried to take him all in her mouth. Hana moaned into the kiss as Naruto touched all around her back, but she quickly realized she was losing the battle as Naruto leaned up and pushed Hana towards the couch while he was on top of her. She gradually felt herself in a daze from the experience, but Naruto came to a halt, causing Hana to pout before grabbing her hand and guiding her upstairs. "I think a bed is preferable to a couch," Naruto said as he quickly opened the door to his room. He noticed that his clones had already been dismissed, and the mess on the floor had vanished. He quickly turned around, only to have Hana dive back into his lips as if they were a drug. She ran her hands down his back as they shared a kiss that was becoming increasingly intimate. Naruto separated from Hana and attacked her neck aggressively. Hana's breath caught in her throat as she moaned in response to Naruto's lavish attention. "And Naruto," Hana said as she rubbed her thighs. He was also admiring the Inuzuka's form for all its worth. Naruto stroked Hana a little more before slowly removing her shirt. Hana raised her arms in the air as Naruto yanked the strip of clothing away from her. Naruto threw it to the ground, but cursed mentally when he noticed she was wearing an undershirt. "Are you teasing me, Hana-chan?" Naruto inquired, and Hana smiled. "I have no idea what you're talking about, Naruto-kun," Hana said, and Naruto laughed a little at his lover. Hana slowly eyed his form, like a predator stalking its prey. It made Naruto hot for some reason he couldn't explain. He quickly grabbed Hana's hand and drew her back into a passionate hug. Naruto's fingers trailed her arms for a moment before returning to her warm sides. Hana, for her part, lifted the top of Naruto's muscle shirt and ran her hands over his body. She shivered with delight at his body's pleasure. Hana let out a small yelp as Naruto attacked her earlobes, but she didn't get very far. Hana whimpered at his touch as he slowly bit them. She felt herself getting wet from the ecstasy of the moment. Naruto pushed Hana back slowly, and she wondered why until she felt the wall behind her as the blonde dominated her. Before Naruto looked up at her, Hana felt her will leave her. "Does this feel good, Hana? You're shivering," Naruto asked, and Hana gritted her teeth and closed her eyes tightly. "You don't say such things," Hana replied, and Naruto could feel her nipples poking at him through her undershirt, which made him chuckle. He stepped back and slowly removed his shirt, revealing his upper body to Hana. His toned muscles from years of training, as well as his amazing stomach, were becoming more and more ripped as she watched him. Hana licked her lips unconsciously when she noticed how attractive the blonde was. Her gaze followed his form for a little longer before she noticed Naruto standing right in front of her. He gently kissed her and lifted her shirt, revealing her breasts to him. Naruto gulped visibly and examined Hana's C-cup breasts and perky nipples. Naruto smiled and caressed the Inuzuka woman's cheek as she tried to hide her body from the blonde. Sorry, Hana-chan, Naruto said as he grabbed Hana's arms and moved them out of the way so the blonde could see her breasts again. Hana gulped as Naruto examined her body. He smiled as he kissed her right nipple, causing Hana to slightly moan as he latched onto it and calmly began to suck and swirl the nipple in his mouth while his other hand was busy massaging her left nipple. Hana bit her lower lip as he sucked and twisted her nipples in his hands and mouth. And Naruto, that feels good, Hana said, her breath caught in her throat. Meanwhile, Naruto was enjoying the small taste of Hana's breasts. He had to admit that they weren't as large as Kyuubi's or Tsume's, but that didn't bother him. Hana was very attractive in her own right, and that was what he was drawn to. Hana grabbed Naruto's hair and pulled him forward, forcing Naruto to swallow more of her breast. She could also feel Naruto's member hitting her stomach as a result, and she gulped as she started to get wet in one spot. Hana had never had any type of experience with a man before, not even kissing, so this was an entirely new experience for her. Because she had been around the village and hadn't been called out on many missions, her hymen was still intact. Which was nice because she wanted to give it to Naruto. She had studied all of a man's pleasure points, but Naruto was exploiting hers far too much for her to even try. But he would let her have her turn or she would force him to. These breasts are amazing, Hana-chan, Naruto said as he licked them again. Hana moaned several times in response to his words and actions as she felt her resistance eroding. But she smiled the split second Naruto stopped and grabbed his left. Naruto gasped in surprise as she guided it down to her wet spot. Hana was clearly embarrassed, but she desired it from Naruto. Hana insisted, "Touch me, Naruto-kun," and Naruto gulped. The blonde nodded and sucked her breasts as he gently massaged her wet slit with his left hand inside her pantyhose. He had no idea his actions had aroused her so much. "You're so wet, Hana-chan," Naruto said, and Hana blushed as Naruto played with her wet lower lips. He massaged it from left to right, paying close attention to her clit. Naruto's wet lips latched on her pussy and began to lick the folds inside and out after slowly moving down her stomach and toward her nether lips, which seemed agonizing to Inuzuka. While tugging on Naruto's hair, Hana squirmed under the ferocity of Naruto's tongue. "Yes, Naruto. Right there. It feels so good," Hana exclaimed, and Naruto was overjoyed. He expected her to do so, to express her delight in him. He probably enjoyed making her feel this good. He made that clearer when he lightly bit her clit while Hana gripped his head with her growing nails due to her Inuzuka ancestry. She'd have to repay Naruto for that moment. Naruto felt her pussy shiver and knew what was going to happen, but he didn't back down. He easily slipped his finger inside and moved his finger up and down inside and out, signaling Hana that she could let go at any time. Hana clenched her teeth and tried to hold out as long as she could. But with Naruto's teasing, it wasn't long before she had to let out her first orgasm. "Naruto-kun," Hana yelled, sending her delight into Naruto's mouth. The blonde took it all without hesitation, though he could feel Hana's hands holding him in place before she relaxed and slumped to the ground. When Naruto appeared in front of Hana, he made her blush by displaying the juices that had escaped his mouth and ended up on his hands. He licked his fingers clean, causing Hana to blush at the sight of Naruto taking her juices into his mouth. It was strange to Naruto, but he found it to be sweet more than anything else. "That was really good, Hana-chan, and I'm glad you enjoyed it," Naruto said as Hana panted. She had never felt better in her life. It didn't feel that good even when she masturbated. "And Naruto-kun, that was amazing," Hana exclaimed, and Naruto smiled confidently. He noticed Hana standing up and resetting herself. She looked at Naruto's raging member throb in his pants as if it was pleading for release. Hana laughed, as did Naruto, who admitted that he was feeling good as well. She quickly crawled up to Naruto and gulped. Hana placed her hand on Naruto's firm chest and reached forward to kiss him. She could taste the sweet taste of her juices on his lips, but she didn't mind. In fact, she found it erotic. Hana pushed Naruto down slowly and traced a finger across his firm body. "I'm going to get you back for that," Hana said, kissing Naruto's chest. The blonde enjoyed her touches as she licked his muscles, which she had grown to adore. Hana let one hand fall down to Naruto's black shorts, expertly removing them. In reality, Hana had no idea how she did it. She just wanted to see Naruto naked like she was, and that had to have affected her. She felt even more exotic when she smelled the sex in the room. She noticed her senses were far more in tune, but she could think about that later. "I'm going to make you scream my name as well, Naruto-kun," Hana threatened, and Naruto gulped. She kissed and kissed until she was down to his throbbing stick, at which point she slightly giggled. She gently touched it and watched it twitch as Naruto moaned. Hana smiled and tried to wrap her hands around it, but she couldn't because of its size. Naruto was most likely the ideal dream for any woman. He was young, well-equipped, and had a lot of stamina. He was the kind of thing that women would kill for if they found out about him. But he was all hers for the night. Hana gave Naruto a small lick, causing the blonde to grab the bed sheets, and when she was satisfied with that reaction, she planted a kiss on his cock before opening her mouth and taking everything inside. Hana-chan. That feels good, Naruto said, touching the back of Hana's throat. Hana did her best for the blonde, making sure he enjoyed her mouth. She wondered if something would cause her jaw to dislocate. But she didn't care. She didn't mind if he made her gag as long as he enjoyed it. It's just getting started, Naruto-kun, Hana said, bobbling her head up and down as Naruto clenched his teeth. He could feel Hana's mouth moving over his member as he tried not to let go right then and there. He could tell she wanted that from him. Hana was also playing with his balls, trying to find his weak points. When Hana felt Naruto buck his hips into her mouth, she gagged a few times, but she didn't mind. She had always wondered what it was like to be abused by someone. Hana smiled at the blonde as she popped Naruto out of her mouth. "Do you love me, Naruto-kun?" Hana asked unexpectedly, and Naruto huffed while trying to catch his breath, but Hana sucked him before he could recover, making Naruto want to have an orgasm as well, but she always stopped before he could. It was an endless torture for the blonde, and Naruto nodded quickly, unable to bear it any longer. "Hana-chan, I love you a lot," Naruto exclaimed, and Hana smiled. She quickly sucked Naruto back into her mouth and let him have his own orgasm with a few more bobs. "Hana-chan," Naruto yelled as he spayed his sperm inside Hana's mouth, widening her eyes. She drank as much as she could while inspecting it. She thought it was a little salty, but she liked the flavor. She finally let go of some spade on her breasts. Hana laughed as Naruto panted, while Hana traced her finger through the semen and scooped it into her hands. He was sweating profusely from his experience. "Nice, Naru-kun, you really know how to make things interesting," Hana said as she showed Naruto a nice scene of her licking the semen from her hands, indicating that they were clean. Naruto blushed at the sight, which made Hana laugh. She then took a step back and went on all fours, her special place pointed at Naruto. "Make me yours right now, Naruto-kun. I need you," Hana said, and Naruto gulped. He cocked his cock at her entrance, causing Hana's arms to buckle, which Naruto noticed. "Are you a virgin, Hana-chan?" Naruto inquired, and Hana nervously nodded. The blonde smiled and twisted her head slowly. He kissed her while slowly pushing inside her. Hana closed her eyes as she felt Naruto's invading size go inside her. She was in pain, but that was to be expected. She let a few tears fall down her cheeks, but Naruto's gentle caresses helped to soothe her pain. Hana felt Naruto's size and gasped when he saw the entire inside. Her knees and arms buckled as she nearly fell to the floor, but Naruto caught her and held her steady. "Are you okay, Hana-chan?" Naruto inquired, and Hana remained silent for a few moments. She sighed and gave the blonde a smile. "I'm fine, Naruto-kun, you may proceed," Hana said, and Naruto nodded. He began with slow thrusts to allow Hana to adjust to the pain, but he may have underestimated her as an Inuzuka. Hana turned around and smiled as she gently caressed Naruto's cheek. "Harder, Naruto-kun. You have to fuck me harder," Hana yelled, widening Naruto's eyes. He grinned and reached for Hana's hips. He bucked his hips inside and outside of her space. Hana's moans filled the house, and Naruto was fortunate that no one else was present. He could only imagine the explanation he'd have to give, but all he could think about was how hard Hana was squeezing his dick. She adored him and was determined not to let him go. Hana widened her eyes as she felt Naruto approach her woman. "What have I been missing?" Hana wondered as Naruto spun her head and drew her back into a kiss. Her lips were so enticing to the blonde that he craved more of them throughout their session. "Hana-chan, you're so tight, I'm about to snap," Naruto said, but Hana didn't hear him. She was well into the session when she felt Naruto's love for her. She preferred it this way. Naruto then turned her around and had her face him as he saw her enjoying the pleasure he was giving her. Hana wrapped her legs around Naruto, preventing him from escaping her gasp, sweat rolling down her face as he came over her and brought their lips together. She was also becoming more feral as her pleasure-induced teeth grew. Her nails scratched the bed before wrapping around Naruto's back. For a moment, the blonde winced in pain, but he quickly recovered. He was also relieved to hear Hana yell his name throughout the compound. She might have done it if the place was crowded, but she didn't care. Nothing could stop her from expressing how much she enjoyed Naruto's company. "Naruto-kun, yes. Harder. Faster. Oh, Kami, you're incredible," Hana yelled out, causing Naruto to run faster. The bed was rocking back and forth from them both, and sweat stained the entire bed and sheets. Hana could feel Naruto's cock tighten and she knew what was coming, as well as her own end. Her senses were on overload. "Hana-chan," Naruto exclaimed. Hana yelled, "Naruto-kun." They both orgasmed, with Naruto's sperm flooding Hana's wet vagina and Hana's juices staining Naruto's cock. They both huffed and fell to the floor. Hana smiled at Naruto, and the blonde reciprocated with an Yuzuka. That was incredible, Naruto-kun, Hana said, and Naruto nodded. He laughed and gently stroked Hana's cheek. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Naruto said, and Hana's eyes twinkled, causing Naruto to gulp. Then make me feel good again and take my other virginity, Hana said to Naruto, shaking her ass. Hana noticed his dick stand to attention as the blonde's eyes widened. Naruto gulped as he noticed Hana smiling at his dick. The blonde jumped to his feet and aimed it at her behind. Hana shook visibly as he pushed it in. As he quickly screwed her insides, she felt his cock grow larger than before. Hana felt even more stuffed than before as she grabbed the bed sheets and ran to Naruto. Her ass was much more constricted. He could tell she was having fun, and she was. Yes, Naruto-kun. It hurts, but it feels good. Screw my ass, Hana exclaimed, and Naruto accelerated. He clenched his teeth as he and Hana continued. Hana, I'm going to come, Naruto said, and Hana agreed. As the two dropped back to the bed, the blonde yelled as he released another load inside Hana's other hole. Naruto-kun, you're an animal, Hana exclaimed, and Naruto laughed. Well, I try, Naruto admitted as he felt sleep engulf him. Hana laughed and slept next to Naruto as they let the night take over the rest of the day. After 5 days, as everyone watched Naruto leave, he said goodbye to his family. When they found out what the HPT was, they all burst out laughing. Everyone ganged up on Kasumi for not telling them, but she countered by saying she promised Tsunade she wouldn't say anything. Everyone easily forgiven her, and they all wished Naruto luck. They all wished they could watch it, but Kyuubi did not disappoint. She had also been practicing her yin release and had created a crystal ball similar to the one Sarutobi, and Tsunade had when she first saw it. She said she'd accompany Naruto and quickly left, leaving everyone else gathered around the ball, especially Teuya, who was curious about Naruto. She had to admit that the blonde had piqued her interest, especially after seeing him train with Shizune and Kurenai just 3 days before. She was eager to find out if Kimimaro was correct and how good the blonde really was. Everyone else was overjoyed to see Naruto fight. Yujiro was also present at their home. She wanted to go see the others because she had introduced herself to them about 2 days before. Everyone accepted her easily, and she was surprised to learn that Naruto was a Jinchuriki, which piqued Nebai's interest even further. Kushina, Haku, and Fu were also present. They were eager to see what Naruto's training had accomplished for the blonde. Aside from the Namikaze compound and Kiba and Yuzuka, no one knew anything about HPT. Oh, and Sasuke was released 3 days ago. It should have been 4, but he'd been in a few fights during his time in prison, so he had to stay 1 more day. Sasuke had been looking around for a few days, but didn't do anything because he was always being watched, even if he didn't realize it. Naruto is involved. Naruto ran into Shizune and Kurenai. The 3 were on their way to the academy. They had been training and thought they were prepared. They intended to show everyone. Naruto even fixed some of Shizune's stamina issues, but it was only enough for her to pass for the time being. Are you guys ready? Naruto inquired, prompting Shizune and Kurenai to nod. They both smiled, and everyone rushed up to the academy, or whatever it was supposed to be. Naruto narrowed his eyes as they approached a grassy field. He had gone to the academy his entire life and had never heard that it had been destroyed. Did we take the wrong turn? Shizune inquired, causing Naruto and Kurenai to shake their heads. I've gone to the academy my whole life, and this is the same path I've always taken, so I know we're right, Naruto said, and Kurenai nodded. It's a Jinjutsu over ... the entire building, she explained, and Naruto smirked. It felt so different yet so familiar. A Jinjutsu for a floor in the Chunin exams, and now it's the entire building. If you don't make it, you're not fit to be Hokage. Your awareness must always be on high alert for danger. That's what a Hokage should be. Always aware of the unexpected, Naruto said, prompting his partners to nod. Kurenai activated the Jinjutsu, and the entire academy appeared before them. They rushed inside and discovered it was empty. It had to be declared a holiday for academy students. So, where do we go? Naruto asked, noticing the stairs at the edge. Naruto was certain that those had never been there before. Everyone walked down the stairs cautiously, only to discover that it was completely dark at the bottom. They persisted and descended the stairwell. Why is it so dark? Shizune inquired, and Naruto and Kurenai were unsure. It wasn't a Jinjutsu, but then the lights went out and a door appeared, with an Anbu beside it. He gave them a stern look before opening the door. Be aware that once you enter this door, there is no turning back, Anbu warned, and the 3 nodded. Neither Kurenai nor Shizune wanted to be Hokage, but they were eager to assist Naruto if he so desired. They owed him a lot of money, and this could help make up for some of it. "We're not fleeing," Naruto said, taking a step forward, while Kurenai and Shizune nodded in agreement. They'd spent 5 days preparing for this day, and there was no way they were going to flee. The Anbu narrowed his eyes and smirked behind his mask as he looked at them all. A Hokage needed the guts to stand firm in the face of adversity. "Very well," he said as he placed chakra seals on their backs. As he felt his chakra leave him, Naruto raised an eyebrow and continued walking. Kurenai and Shizune followed, but the three of them kept walking as the Anbu shut the door. When they saw the desks and hundreds of rows for the Jonin, they all gasped. It looked exactly like an academy student room, only much larger to accommodate all of the Jonin. The trio saw almost all of their Jonin friends. There were Kakashi, Gai, and Asuma, who were a few rows apart. Shikaku, Chusa, and Inoichi were all in separate aisles. Naruto had to turn his head to see Ibiki, Anko, and Tsume because they were so far apart. Shibai, Genma, and Hayashi were all separated from one another. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he noticed Anbu circling the entire room in single file going sideways. An Anbu at the center soon called out to them, "You three get up and sit down." "Blondie over here," the Anbu said, pointing to a seat. Naruto clenched his teeth and said the word, but complied and sat. He motioned for Kurenai to take a seat, and she did so. Then it was Shizune's turn, and she sat in her assigned seat. There were a lot of Jonin in the room, but Naruto noticed that there were a few Jonin missing. Tsume smiled and waved back as Naruto managed a small wave. He was also certain he saw Yugao standing behind the Anbu captain in front of him in a single file line. If Naruto recalls correctly, he left the compound around 11 o'clock. It took them half an hour to get to the academy, which meant that the other Jonin had less than 30 minutes to get there. The 30 minutes were up, and only about another 30 to 35 groups arrived, totaling 90 to 105 other Jonin, leaving the room semi-full. There were still a lot of empty seats, but it didn't matter because the door closed and stayed closed. Everyone else sighed as they realized they had arrived in plenty of time before the room was flooded by a Kai. But it was nothing the Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin couldn't handle. After dealing with Kyuubi and her teachings, Naruto had faced far worse. "I resent that," Kyuubi said, rolling his eyes with a grin. The Anbu captain smirked behind his mask and cracked his knuckles at this point. "Welcome, Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin, to the Hokage placement tournament. Congratulations on the unlucky few of you who made it this far. Now, we're going to test all of you right now," the Anbu said, and everyone winced at his tone. Kakashi turned to see how Naruto was doing, but the blonde seemed to be doing fine. "First, I'm going to lay down some rules. If any of you are familiar with Ibiki's rules, this is a good one. Rule 1, no cheating. If you're caught cheating even once, you're out of here," the Anbu surprised everyone with. He smirked and held some papers up. "Well, I know you won't cheat just because you're all getting different papers. A Hokage is a political, militaristic, and economic leader who deals with other countries, war, and the stability of the village as a whole. You will be tested on these things. Now then, try not to leave already," the Anbu said, easily passing all the tests. Naruto examined his and noticed that it was militaristic. He couldn't wait to see what Shizune and Kurenai got. They'd all begun. Naruto cursed the lack of mirrors, saying that they couldn't easily cheat like in the Chunin exams. The chakra seals on people's backs couldn't be removed for some reason, so they couldn't use their special abilities. Naruto tried not to rely on Kyuubi this time and stated that he would try it himself. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he read the newspaper. "You see your side outnumbered by opposing forces, you are all exhausted, and your backup is half an hour away. Your side is unmotivated by its chances of survival, and you are the only one who can help them. What do you do to help your side survive the onslaught and survive?" Naruto sighed and reflected on the situation. Anything he could think of to assist him. Naruto shook his head as he noticed others writing. He was working on his own paper when he caught sight of Kurenai. He noticed her give a hidden as her eyes moved strangely. She seemed to be pointing to something. Naruto followed her gaze to find Shizune writing or tapping aimlessly on her face. Naruto smiled as his eyes widened. He grinned as he heard the Jonin's distinct tapping of papers. "Yeah, there is that way," Naruto said, recalling Kyuubi teaching him Morse code, which all Jonin used when options were limited. They'd enter a code. It ranged from pens to simple humming or anything else, such as a cough or something. An Anbu threw a kunai near Naruto's desk, almost making the blonde flinch. "You and your group fail, get out of here," exclaimed the Anbu, and the three Jonin bolted. Naruto gulped, but his gaze was drawn to Shizune's tapping. While Kurenai and Shizune received his message, Naruto tapped his own pencil. A shinobi, especially the Hokage, had to be ready for anything. Naruto smirked as he returned his gaze to his paper. "I'd give them Morse code for a last stand." The most desperate action that requires retreat and counter strategy. Use smoke bombs to get away from the enemy and lead the enemy to the allies that are waiting for us. Take any soldier pills that are with us and use a trap to confuse the enemy, Naruto wrote on a piece of paper. He hated to admit it, but he had Kyuubi assist him with any difficult calculations he might require. He set his paper down and bowed his head. Kurenai and Shizune were both smiling as he turned around. It was as if they knew which paper he was holding. When he remembered the Anbu had passed out the papers, he widened his eyes. People predicted the types of papers their teammates would receive and hoped they were correct before assisting them. Kurenai finished her test and set it aside, as did Shizune. Naruto found it strange that Shikaku's team had finished first, followed by Kakashi's team. Naruto's team was after those two, as well as the others. The Anbu had caught about 5 to 10 other groups, resulting in the disqualification of 15 to 30 jonin. Naruto sighed as that section ended. The Anbu smiled and nodded. Well, I guess most of you aren't weaklings, the Anbu observed as everyone stared at him. What are you all looking at? On to the next test, he said, doing a single hand sign. And the ground beneath everyone began to crumble as their chakra restriction seals fell off their bodies, appearing to come off only when that part of the test was completed. Everyone felt their chakra return as the Anbu shined out. Get out of your can and head to the Forest of Death if you think you're fit to be a Hokage, the Anbu's lasting voice said as everyone gasped. And everyone was about to cave in. Compound Namikaze. Everyone in the Namikaze compound gasped and expressed concern for Naruto and his group, as well as the other jonin. Is Tsunade-sama crazy? Haku asked out loud as they saw the jonin's roof collapsing. They had their chakra restricted and it would be a while before it all returned. Is he going to be okay? Fu inquired as Yujiro stiffened, and Teuya wondered if the blonde would be alright. Kasumi gulped as everyone else watched. The Hokage mansion. And his associates at the Hokage mansion widened their eyes as they watched Tsunade. You're insane, Tsunade, said, and Tsunade chuckled at him. Shinobi had to be ready for anything because this wasn't a Chunin exam, but a Hokage placement tournament. Don't worry, I trust my Shinobi, Tsunade said as he stood there watching the cave-in. Back on the job. As Naruto and the others gasped as the earth crumbled around them, the blonde dashed to Kurenai and Shizune, and the three quickly dodged all the falling rocks. How are we going to get out of here? Shizune inquired as they watched the rocks fall, and Naruto cursed as he noticed a massive boulder blocking their only exit. Kurenai-chan, Shizune, grab me and don't let go, Naruto instructed, and the two nodded, quickly wrapping their arms around Naruto. Kyuubi-chan, I need your chakra right now, Naruto said in thought. He wasn't going to die here, and he knew none of the other jonin would either, or they wouldn't be jonin at all. Kyuubi refilled Naruto's chakra and the blonde closed his eyes. He locked his chakra to his house and his entire group vanished in the Hurricane, making the Namikaze compound cheer, while Tsunade smiled. Wait, wasn't that interesting? Tsunade inquired. Ane, Darui, and C turned to face her. Are you crazy? They were thinking at the same time. Compound Namikaze, Naruto, Kurenai, and Shizune arrived at the house and collapsed on the couch, causing everyone to gasp. Naruto, you're fine. Naruto coughed, as did Shizune and Kurenai, and the three sighed and looked up at the ceiling. That was a little too close for comfort. Databeo, I thought we were dead, Naruto said as Kurenai and Shizune nodded. When she saw how serious it was, she wasn't joking. I still can't believe she did it. I'm surprised she didn't bring down the academy as well, Kushina remarked, and Naruto laughed. Ba-chan isn't that insane. She probably had a seal made that was strong enough to cause a cave-in but weak enough not to harm the academy, Naruto said, and Kushina smiled. Like in the days of true shinobi. I guess peace makes you lazy. Seems she's trying to get you all to take this seriously, and if you don't, you'll get hurt one way or another, Kushina said, and Naruto, Kurenai, and Shizune agreed and brushed themselves off. Are you okay, Naruto-sama? Timamaro inquired, and Naruto grinned and nodded, giving everyone a thumbs up. It'll take more than that to bring me down, Databeo, Naruto said, and everyone laughed. Teuya smirked, slightly relieved that he survived. It would have left a bad taste in her mouth if he died that easily. At least you know how to survive. Shithead, Teuya said, though she wasn't sure she should brag about it. Perhaps you're right. After all, a Hokage has to survive, Naruto said, and everyone nodded with smiles. Naruto quickly remembered the Anbu's words and rose to his feet. Come on Shizune, Kurenai-chan, let's go to the Forest of Death. How ironic, Naruto remarked as they walked out of the house. Well, I can't wait to see what happens next, Fu said, and everyone nodded. The Forest of Death. Naruto, Kurenai, and Shizune arrived at their destination and grinned when they saw that all of the other jonin had arrived. I thought you didn't make it, Naru-kun, Anko said as she hugged the blonde, while the other Jonin chuckled and Naruto smirked. You won't be able to get rid of me that easily, Anko-chan. How did you two escape? Naruto inquired, and everyone nodded, pointing to Kakashi, Asuma, and Guy. Those three attacked the boulder and broke it. Kakashi was forced to use his Reikiri, while Guy made use of his dynamic entry. With Futen Chakra, Asuma was able to cut it in half. It was quite a sight to behold. When they broke us all out, we all used our chakra to climb the walls and make it back to the small door where the staircase was. In truth, I'm surprised we made it, Ibiki said to Naruto, who nodded. Soon after, all the other Jonin made it as well. Everyone was lucky that no one died, but only 75 to 90 Jonin and Tokubetsu Jonin remained in the group. The Anbu units quickly appeared and clapped their hands. It's not bad. You all made it here and survived. That's our Jonin for you, one of the Anbu said before yelling. Do you think you're stupid? We might have died. I don't want to be a part of this damn event, a Jonin yelled, and the Anbu nodded. Alright, you and your group are gone. Tsunade paperwork Samas will be waiting for you, and believe us when we say that you would have been wiser to skip this event. It's a lot better, the Anbu said, but he and his group scoffed and walked away while Naruto sighed. Being the village leader was a big deal, and if you couldn't cut it, you just couldn't cut it. Does anyone else want to quit? The Anbu inquired, and after a brief discussion, Naruto turned to Kurenai and Shizune for their response, not wanting to force them into anything they didn't want to do. I'm fine with it, Naruto. Jonin are, or should be, used to this sort of thing. I recall a mission like that and escaping unscathed, so I can go on, Kurenai said, and Naruto transformed into Shizune. It was nothing compared to running away from debt collectors almost every day. If you want, I can continue, Shizune said, and Naruto nodded. Alright, we're good, Naruto said, as no one else moved, while the Anbu chuckled and pointed to the forest of death. That's great. You're all brave. Normally, people like you die the fastest, the Anbu said, and everyone stared at them. Since you want to continue, we'll let you, but this event will now begin. Scrolls have now been placed in the forest of death. You must collect them all, each with a symbol of one of the elemental nations on it. There are 5 scrolls in total, but there are also fake scrolls. You have 2 days to obtain 3 scrolls that, when compared to one another, win, such as how one element beats another, such as lighting beating earth and earth beating water. Because there are 3 of you, you must each receive 3 scrolls. Isn't it simple? The Anbu inquired, and some appeared to nod, but then the Anbu grinned, causing Naruto and his fellow Jonin to narrow their eyes. However, is that a good HPT level event? No, it isn't. Well, to keep things interesting, you're all going to fight, the Anbu said, smirking, as everyone glared at each other. Anko at Kurenai, Naruto at Kakashi, and everyone else at someone. The Anbu chuckled, bringing everyone's attention back to them. Hey, chill out. You're not fighting, the Anbu said, perplexing the Jonin, but Kakashi, Naruto, and the others were starting to understand. Who are we fighting then? Someone inquired, and the Anbu smirked, and they all took out their swords, confirming Naruto, Kakashi, and the other Jonin's guesses. You'll all be fighting the ANBU of Konoha's Shinobi Corps, the Anbu captain said as everyone gasped. And Naruto grinned as he took a step forward, grabbing one of his 3 swords and chuckling. There are several scrolls in the forest, and we must collect them in the order in which they are superior to the other elements. There are also fake scrolls, dangerous animals, and other things in there. And then we'll face you ANBU, and we have 2 days to do all of this, right? Naruto inquired, and the Anbu nodded, chuckling and grinning madly. Then let's get it started, Databeo, Naruto yelled, and the other Jonin were eager to get started on the second part of the HPT.
So this was it for today. I will continue the story next part. Till then, we weave offline.